Well, the poster to me is this vast place. It's an untamed ocean, and it's wild and it's unpredictable, and it has these invisible currents and these uncharted territories that are still out there to be found. And I love it for that. I love its vitality. Some creative formats really have no staying power. They kind of stiffen over time, and they seem to become trapped within their own history and become self-referential. But the poster has found this new relevance and new connection with each coming generation. And like our discipline at large, I think the poster is expanding and it's evolving in very interesting ways. Take motion posters, for example, or those animated GIFs that we post to the walls of social media, or posters that have kind of dimensional or digital elements in them. Those media, those tools, those formats of production, they always march on, demanding our attention and providing us with these new expressive and experimental possibilities. The technology is always evolving. But what I love about design is that the technology is always in service to the expression of powerful messages, powerful ideas, and powerful emotions. Well, a good poster is like a bolt of lightning, right? It strikes and it makes you see a thing with new eyes. For me, it's about finding the essence of something and expressing it in a compelling visual way. So it has to impact or resonate or provoke or celebrate or in some way start a dialogue. It's a really good question. What makes a good poster? A few years ago, I might have said something like, it's clear, simple message wrapped up in great metaphor, great visual verbal concept, and it has to be executed with the right technique and the right material to best support the idea, to best express the emotion. So it has to be this bold, beautiful, surprising thing, like a punch in the nose, or something that irritates the eye, or something that sticks with the viewer. Or it has to have what Rudolf Arnheim always talked about as an aesthetic rightness. But these days, I'm much, much more full of doubt about this. If you do it with enough, because from what I've seen, if you do it with enough bravery and enough passion and intelligence, and you have an awareness and an intent, I don't think there's any rule that exists that you can't toss out the window. And I think it's very much like music in this regard. You can place a Swiss modernist next to a Polish poster master, next to a Victor Moscoso psychedelic poster, next to a Toulouse-Lautrec. And in a contemporary sense, many of the current international biennials and the triennials are really a wellspring of thoughtful work and really stunning stuff. And I think they're also proof that there's no formula for success. This is what I love about the poster, and I don't know, in that sense, what makes a good poster anymore. Because like music, it's somewhere between the notes, or it's somewhere in the perfect fusion of the emotion and the instrument. I will say I have built up some strong preferences over time, but I try to keep my tastes fluid and evolving, especially at the edges. Personally, for posters, for me it's about thinking and honing a concept into this single sharp point, and seeing something from a new perspective or in a new light, and finding that breathtaking moment, expressing the essence of something in a new and hopefully memorable way. Well, the poster certainly is not a historical blip. It's not trapped forever at the single scale, the single medium, the single aspect ratio, or anything like that. I think it runs much deeper than any format of production or means of reproduction and consumption. I think the poster is evolving in beautiful and exciting ways right now, and it seems to be, for me, retaining its core power. I think a lot of people see more posters now than ever before, and I think they're pasted to the walls of social media, and I think they see them through publications like Poster Poster. But that said, my true love is the large-scale physical poster. Those big biennials and triennials, they're so fresh and interesting these days, and I think a lot of them allow for a broader spectrum of creative thought because they have social, cultural, and commercial avenues of expression and creativity and communication. These days, I try to be as flexible and fluid as possible with the process and with time management. Because for me, it's really about, what is it about? That's a great question. It's really about attaining a state of flow or a state of play, and that seems for me to be where the new discoveries happen. And it also can invite, luck and serendipity. But for me, good process also means not having to rely on those fickle spirits of inspiration that flit by and come and go. So research, so conversations, whatever I can possibly do to get a sense for the audience, to empathize, to understand sketch, emotion. I play music in the background, more concepts, some gazing out the window, more conversation, looking for potential visual metaphors, just abstractly designing icons, working with positive and negative space, handling typography, constraining myself with severe material constraints, time constraints, more sketching probably. And I strongly believe that the execution must serve the idea. So in the end, it comes down to using, for me, the right media, the right materials, the right techniques for the concept. So, for example, sometimes India ink and rough paper, that's the way to do it, right? That's better for a particular tone and concept than a crisp 3D image might be. And the analogy would be a melody will sound kind of radically different depending on the instrument you use to play it, right? And I love investigating these new techniques and new tools all the time, but I also expressly try to stay uncomfortable with materials and media, which is terrifying, but it's also very important to my approach. And I think it's because I'm just deathly afraid of stasis and afraid of repeating myself or getting stuck or not making new visual discoveries. Oh, that's an impossible question, isn't it? I think my eyes and my appreciation are constantly evolving, like most of us. And I think posters that have occupied my memory over the years are usually visceral things, but they're not afraid of beauty either. And Paula Troxler's Moby Dick Leviathan poster is, I think, certainly a masterpiece of subtlety, and it's brilliant. I think it's perfect in its fusion of medium and message, and it has really stuck with me as a favorite for some time now. I think designers are composers, and we're charged with delivering compelling messages and compelling experiences, and there are a couple of approaches or frameworks or habits of mind, really, that are going to help over time open doors and help a designer grow and evolve in the long term and really maintain relevance as the profession kind of marches onward. And so the first for me is focus on crafting powerful and worthwhile concepts. And I say that because it's the much rarer and much more valuable skill. So unlike a technique or a style, great ideas never go out of fashion, right? And the second is seeking to kind of understand the larger context and the overall strategy, like the why behind a brief or an issue that you're working with. So a poster is often one small slice of a larger integrated campaign, and it's important to develop a mindset that is constantly seeking and empathizing with and thinking about the larger picture and the next level of context. So a great message can be consistently applied across different communication channels, different formats, and different media. And I think somebody who only restricts themselves to making a traditional, 70 by 100 centimeter offset pulp and ink lithographic poster will probably struggle to maintain a viable business these days. Whereas someone who crafts really strong, versatile, and integrated messages that are that are capable of crossing different formats, different media, different materials, will always have options.